Imagine you're the CTO of a major bank. Your board is pushing you to bring AI into core operations, improve efficiency, cut costs. You know AI can do it. You've seen the demos, you've read the reports, but then your legal team walks in and tells you, not a single byte of our customer data can leave our own servers. And just like that, you're stuck. Now, this isn't a technology problem. This is regulatory reality, bank customer data, hospital medical records, government classified files, all of it locked down by law, sitting in on-premise servers, going nowhere. And yet, the AI wave is here. Every industry wants in. But the companies with the most money, the most need, the most to gain, they're the ones being blocked by an invisible wall. This tension is the question the AI industry has quietly avoided answering for years. Next week, Jensen Huang walks onto a stage in San Jose, and based on what we know so far, Nvidia is expected to announce something called NemoClaw, an open-source AI agent platform targeting enterprise customers. The official details aren't out yet, but I think there's already enough information to ask a much more interesting question. Is Nvidia using 2026 technology to copy a business model that IBM proved worked decades ago? That's what I want to dig into today. Before the announcement, before the headlines, before the hype. Let's think this through together. So, based on what's been reported so far, NemoClaw appears to be not an agent itself, but a platform that lets enterprises build their own agents. And if that's accurate, think about what that means. An agent is the meal on the plate. NemoClaw is the kitchen equipment. The enterprise is the restaurant owner. Nvidia provides the kitchen. The enterprise decides what to cook. A bank could build its own risk assessment agent. A hospital could build its own medical records agent. A government agency could build its own document processing agent. If this plays out the way it looks, Nvidia isn't building the agent. It's selling the ability to build agents. And honestly, that would be exactly what Nvidia has been doing for decades. Selling shovels. Now, here's the angle I think most people are missing. Why would Nvidia build a platform that runs completely offline with no cloud dependency? My read is this. It's not a technical choice. It's a market choice. The EU's GDPR says European citizens' personal data cannot be freely transferred to servers outside the EU. The US HIPAA puts extremely strict rules around hospital medical records. Financial regulators in most major economies require that core banking data stay within national borders. These aren't guidelines, they're hard legal requirements. Violating them doesn't just mean fines, it can mean losing your operating license. So here's the situation. The companies with the biggest budgets, the most sophisticated procurement, and the greatest need for AI efficiency, banks, hospitals, governments, law firms, defense contractors, are exactly the ones whose data is legally locked on-premise. And if NemoClaw is really designed to run in a completely air-gapped environment, then Nvidia isn't just building another AI tool. They're building the only enterprise AI solution that these industries can actually use without breaking the law. That's a very different market from what most people are imagining when they hear AI platform. These customers pay far above market rate for compliance and security, and once they've chosen a vendor and built their core operations around it, they almost never switch. Now, when I say Nvidia might be copying IBM, I'm not saying it casually. Here's what IBM did in the 70s and 80s that changed the enterprise market forever. They didn't just sell servers. They packaged hardware, operating systems, enterprise software, and service support into one complete solution, and sold the whole thing to enterprises. And the key? The data never left the customer's building. A bank bought IBM's solution, and their financial data never left the basement. A government agency bought IBM's solution, and their classified files never touched an outside network. That logic created an extraordinarily sticky customer relationship. Once a company built its core operations on IBM's infrastructure, switching wasn't just expensive, it was existential. You weren't migrating software, you were rebuilding the nervous system of your entire organization. IBM rode that logic to dominate the enterprise market for decades. Now, if my read on NemoClaw is correct, Nvidia is repackaging that same logic in the language of 2026. Same playbook, different technology. Enterprise software becomes AI agent platform. IBM mainframe becomes Blackwell server. The underlying business logic, if this plays out, hasn't changed at all. So, let's look at Nvidia's broader strategy through that lens. Honestly, Nvidia's shovel mentality has never changed. It just upgrades every few years. The first shovel was the GPU. Sell to every AI company. Whoever wins, Nvidia wins. The second shovel was CUDA. Lock developers into Nvidia's ecosystem so deeply that competing chips become nearly impossible to substitute. The third shovel was NIM. Package AI models into ready-to-deploy services so enterprises don't have to wrestle with the underlying complexity. And if NemoClaw is what it looks like, the fourth shovel would let enterprises build their own AI agents running entirely on their own hardware. Each generation gets closer to the customer. Each one locks in deeper. Each one generates more stable, recurring revenue. If this pattern holds, NemoClaw isn't a surprise. It's the next logical step in a strategy Nvidia has been executing for years. Now, here's why I think this matters beyond just one product announcement. NemoClaw, if it delivers what's been reported, would sit at the top of a complete technology stack that Nvidia has been quietly assembling. At the bottom, Blackwell and the upcoming Vera Rubin hardware. Enterprise servers optimized for on-premise AI. In the middle, Nvidia AI Enterprise, the software platform for local deployment. One layer up, Nemo and NM, model development and deployment tools, and at the top, NemoClaw, the agent platform. If this stack works the way Nvidia intends, the entire chain runs inside a customer's own data center. No external cloud. No data leaving the building. And here's the thing. AMD can build chips. Microsoft can build software. But if Nvidia pulls this off, they would be the only company that can hand a bank, a hospital, or a government agency a complete AI infrastructure that never touches the outside world. That would be a very deep moat. But, and I want to be honest here, there's a real question worth sitting with. Nvidia has built hardware for decades. Their culture, their talent, their execution DNA, it's all in hardware. Building a software platform is a completely different capability. Developer relations, enterprise sales, continuous iteration, ecosystem building. Historically, hardware companies that successfully transition to software are actually pretty rare. Apple is one. But Apple took many years and went through several near failures along the way. And IBM's own story is worth remembering. IBM dominated the enterprise market for decades with this exact playbook. But eventually, more flexible and open competitors slowly eroded that position. Could Nvidia end up repeating IBM's story? Building something dominant, only to be gradually displaced? Honestly, that's one of the things I'll be watching most closely after the announcement. So, Jensen Huang hasn't spoken yet, the official details aren't out, and I could be wrong about some of this. But based on everything we know so far, here's my pre-GTC read. Nvidia is positioning NemoClaw as the answer to a problem the AI industry has avoided for years. How do you bring AI to the enterprises that need it most, but whose data can never leave their own building? If that's right, this isn't just a product launch. It's Nvidia making a move to own the most valuable, most locked-in segment of the enterprise AI market. Full stack solution. On-premise deployment. Data never leaves the building. Sound familiar? It should. IBM built an empire on exactly that logic. Whether Nvidia can execute on it, That's the question I'll be coming back to answer after March 16th. So stay tuned. After the GTC keynote, I'll do a follow-up episode to see how the reality compares to the prediction. And if you have a different read on this, I'd genuinely love to hear it. See you in the comments. Let's think this through together. This is just my personal analysis, not financial advice. Do your own research.